Along the southeastern coast of India, where the waves of the Bay of Bengal crash against the sand, a new port is rising, a port that could rewrite the story of India's maritime trade. Welcome to the Machilipatnam Port Project, one of the most ambitious coastal developments in modern India. Once a forgotten colonial harbor, Machilipatnam, known centuries ago as Masulipattnam, is making a comeback after decades of silence. This project isn't just about ships and cargo. It's about reviving history, rebuilding pride, and reconnecting India to global trade routes that once made it a maritime power. But this story isn't simple. Behind the cranes and construction lies a past of political delays, environmental debates, and local struggles. For more than 20 years, this port has existed only on paper. Until now, the Indian government and the Andhra Pradesh Maritime Board have finally pushed the project into motion, betting big on a future where Machilipatnam could rival Chennai, Krishnapatnam, and Visakhapatnam as the next great port on the East Coast. Stay until the very end, because only then will you understand why this isn't just another infrastructure project. It's a rebirth of history, a promise of prosperity, and possibly India's next great economic turning point. And before we dive in, subscribe now, because the end of this video will reveal something about this port that almost no one talks about. Background and history. To truly understand the Machilipatnam Port Project, we need to travel back in time, to when this quiet coastal town was one of India's busiest trade centers. Long before modern ships and highways, Machilipatnam, city once called Masulipattnam, was a thriving port city under the rule of the Golconda Sultanate in the 16th century. Traders from Persia, Portugal, and the Netherlands arrived here, filling its docks with silk, pearls, spices, and precious stones. For over 400 years, this port connected India to the world. But with time, things changed. The colonial focus shifted to ports like Madras, now Chennai, and Calcutta, and Machilipatnam faded into the background. By the 20th century, the once bustling harbor was little more than a memory, a forgotten relic of India's maritime past. Fast forward to the early 2000s. The Andhra Pradesh government announced ambitious plans to revive the old port. However, years of political turnover, land disputes, and lack of funding stalled progress again and again. The dream of rebuilding Machilipatnam seemed to vanish each time a new administration came to power. That changed in 2023 when the project was officially revived under the Andhra Pradesh Maritime Board, APMB, backed by the state government and national maritime initiatives like Sagarmala, India's grand plan to modernize coastal infrastructure. This new Machilipatnam port isn't just about history, it's about strategy. Located between two major hubs, Chennai and Visakhapatnam, the port occupies a vital position along the Bay of Bengal trade corridor. It's designed to serve as a crucial gateway for exports from Andhra Pradesh's industrial and agricultural heartlands, especially from Krishna, Guntur, and NTR districts. For locals, it represents more than an engineering project. It's the return of identity, the rebirth of a city that once defined India's connection to the world. From the ancient spice routes to the modern shipping lanes, Machilipatnam has come full circle, ready to reclaim the waves it once ruled. Location and dimensions. The Machilipatnam port sits along the serene yet strategic coastline of Andhra Pradesh in the Krishna district, about 65 kilometers from Vijayawada. This location isn't random. It's been chosen with precision, balancing geography, trade potential, and connectivity. The port lies on the Bay of Bengal, right in the middle of India's eastern maritime belt, between Chennai to the south and Visakhapatnam to the north. This central positioning makes it a vital link in the East Coast Economic Corridor, designed to connect India's heartland industries with Southeast Asian trade routes. Covering an area of nearly 4,800 acres, Machilipatnam Port will be developed in 4 major phases. The first phase alone will include 2 deep water berths capable of handling 35 to 40 million tons of cargo annually. Once all phases are complete, the port will have an impressive total capacity of over 150 million tons per year. The port is designed as a deep draft facility with a natural depth of up to 14.5 meters, allowing it to handle large Panamax and post-Panamax vessels. These massive cargo ships, in the same kind that anchor at global ports like Singapore and Dubai, will finally have a new stop on India's east coast. Its design includes modern container terminals, liquid cargo berths, and bulk handling systems, making it capable of managing everything from automobiles to petrochemicals. The layout also reserves land for industrial storage zones and logistics parks, ensuring seamless cargo movement from ship to inland transport. Connectivity is one of the port's biggest strengths. It's linked to National Highway 216 with plans for a new railway line connecting it directly to Vijayawada Junction, one of South India's busiest railway hubs. These links will allow goods to flow effortlessly from inland industrial clusters to the port and beyond. In short, Machilipatnam isn't being built as a simple harbor. It's being engineered as a complete maritime ecosystem, one that connects factories, farmlands, and foreign markets through a single, powerful gateway to the world. Construction and financing. Building the Machilipatnam port is not just a project. It's a revival of a dream that's been delayed for more than 2 decades. After years of promises and political back and forth, construction finally began in 2023, led by the Andhra Pradesh Maritime Board, APMB. The port is being developed under a public-private partnership PPP model, combining government investment with private expertise to speed up delivery and ensure global standards. The total estimated cost of the project stands at R5 200 crore, which is roughly $630 million. This includes the construction of breakwaters, berths, dredging operations, road and rail links, and logistics facilities. The first phase alone will cost about $3,600 crore, focusing on creating 2 operational berths and the essential marine infrastructure. What makes this project even more significant is the scale of coordination required. The port lies in a cyclone-prone zone, meaning construction must be carefully timed and engineered to withstand high winds and tidal surges. Massive breakwater walls, stretching nearly 2 kilometers into the sea, are being built using millions of tons of concrete blocks designed to absorb the ocean's force. The project also integrates eco-conscious engineering, dredging methods that minimize seabed disturbance, sediment management systems, and plans for mangrove restoration along the coast to protect biodiversity. The Andhra Pradesh government has invested heavily in connectivity too, upgrading National Highway 216, building a dedicated railway spur to Vijayawada, and planning an industrial corridor around the port. This network will ensure that goods can move seamlessly from factories in inland districts to the global market. While the timeline has faced delays due to weather and funding approvals, the government has set an ambitious goal: Phase 1 completion by 2026-27. Once operational, Machilipatnam port will finally fulfill its long-awaited promise, transforming the quiet Krishna coast into one of India's busiest maritime gateways. Economic importance and opportunities. The Machilipatnam port project isn't just about ships docking and cargo moving. It's about unlocking the economic potential of an entire region. Once complete, the port will become a major trade hub for India's east coast, connecting Andhra Pradesh's industrial, agricultural, and manufacturing sectors directly to international markets. Analysts estimate that the port will handle over 150 million tons of cargo annually once fully operational, making it one of India's largest coastal gateways. The impact on local and regional economies will be massive. During construction, more than 25,000 direct and indirect jobs are being created, but the long-term benefits go far beyond that. From logistics companies to export businesses, entire industries will grow around the port. Andhra Pradesh is already home to some of India's largest automobile, textile, and pharmaceutical clusters. The Machilipatnam port will drastically reduce transportation costs for these industries by offering a faster route to global trade lanes across Southeast Asia and the Middle East. For India as a whole, Machilipatnam will strengthen the Sagarmala Initiative, the national program designed to modernize ports and coastal infrastructure. Together with other ports like Kakinada, Krishnapatnam, and Visakhapatnam, Machilipatnam will complete the network of maritime gateways driving the country's blue economy. India's strategy to harness ocean-based industries for sustainable growth. Beyond trade, the port is expected to spark the rise of special economic zones, SEZs, logistics parks, and industrial corridors around Krishna and Guntur districts. New warehouses, cold storage facilities, and transport terminals will create a thriving ecosystem for global trade. Even agriculture will benefit. Farmers from Andhra Pradesh's fertile plains will finally have direct access to export markets for seafood, rice, and processed foods. In short, Machilipatnam Port isn't just an infrastructure project, it's an economic catalyst, a project designed to bridge India's past as a maritime power with its future as one of the world's fastest-growing trading nations. Challenges and criticism. Every mega project comes with its share of challenges, and the Machilipatnam Port is no exception. For over 2 decades, this project has been delayed by political uncertainty, funding gaps, and bureaucratic red tape. Plans were first announced in the early 2000s, yet multiple government changes in Andhra Pradesh pushed the project back again and again. Each new administration promised revival, but progress stalled, earning the port a reputation as the project that never began. When construction finally started in 2023, the celebration was short-lived. Land acquisition disputes soon emerged. Hundreds of families in nearby fishing and farming villages protested, claiming they were not fairly compensated for their land. Many feared losing access to the sea, their primary livelihood for generations. Environmentalists have also raised serious concerns. The Machilipatnam coastline is home to fragile mangrove forests and coastal wetlands that serve as natural barriers against storms and floods. Critics argue that large-scale dredging and breakwater construction could accelerate coastal erosion and damage marine ecosystems, especially breeding zones for fish and shrimp. The port's location also exposes it to frequent cyclones from the Bay of Bengal. While engineers insist that modern design standards and storm-resistant infrastructure will minimize risk, climate experts warn that rising sea levels could affect long-term operations and maintenance costs. Another challenge is competition. Within a 500-kilometer stretch, several major ports, Visakhapatnam, Krishnapatnam, Kakinada, and Chennai, are already established and well-connected. Critics question whether Machilipatnam can attract enough cargo to stay profitable without undercutting existing ports. And finally, there's the human angle. Locals worry that the promised development will bypass them, that outsiders will profit while the fishing communities bear the burden. To address this, the Andhra Pradesh government has promised rehabilitation packages, job guarantees, and community welfare programs. So while Machilipatnam represents progress, it's also a delicate balancing act between growth and ecology, development and displacement, ambition and accountability. Future vision. The story of Machilipatnam Port is no longer just about catching up. It's about leading India's maritime future. Once Phase 1 is completed around 2026-2027, the port will officially reopen the historic gateway to the Bay of Bengal, handling millions of tons of cargo each year. But the long-term vision stretches far beyond that. By 2035, Machilipatnam is expected to become a fully integrated smart port, complete with digital cargo tracking, automated container handling, and renewable energy systems powering much of its daily operations. The project aligns closely with India's Maritime India Vision 2030, which aims to turn India into a global logistics powerhouse. Machilipatnam will be a key node in this network, connecting inland factories to shipping routes that lead directly to Singapore, Malaysia, the Middle East, and East Africa. There are also plans to develop a multimodal logistics park, MMLP, near the port, combining rail, road, and coastal shipping networks to streamline exports and imports. This will make Machilipatnam one of the most efficient gateways for southern India's industrial output. Beyond trade, the port could serve as a launch pad for the blue economy, promoting aquaculture, tourism, and renewable marine energy industries across the Andhra coastline. Floating solar panels, green hydrogen production, and hybrid electric port vehicles are already being discussed as part of the long-term sustainability roadmap. The Andhra Pradesh government envisions the port as more than just a commercial hub. It's a symbol of transformation, a catalyst that can turn the Krishna district into a vibrant center for innovation, logistics, and international trade. But success will depend on careful management, ensuring that growth remains balanced with environmental protection and equitable benefits for local communities. If all goes according to plan, Machilipatnam could become a model smart port for the entire Indian coastline, a living example of how a forgotten harbor from the past can become the cornerstone of a nation's economic future. Conclusion: the Machilipatnam Port Project is more than just a construction site on India's eastern coastline. It's a story of revival, resilience, and rebirth. From a forgotten colonial harbor that once connected India to the world, Machilipatnam is now transforming into a beacon of modern trade and technology. After years of political delays and environmental hurdles, the cranes are finally moving, the dredgers are working, and the vision is becoming real. We've seen how this project promises to boost India's exports, create thousands of jobs, and strengthen the country's position in global logistics. But we've also explored the other side, the environmental concerns, the displacement of communities, and the question of sustainability. The truth is, Machilipatnam stands at a crossroads. It represents both the ambition of a nation hungry for growth and the responsibility to protect its coasts and people. Its success will depend on whether India can balance these two forces, development and preservation, without losing sight of either. If it succeeds, Machilipatnam will not just be another port. It will be a symbol of India's transformation, proof that progress doesn't have to erase history. So what do you think? Will Machilipatnam Port become the next great gateway to the East? Or another lesson in what happens when politics meets the power of the sea? If you enjoyed this deep dive into one of India's most fascinating mega projects, make sure to subscribe, hit like, and turn on notifications, because next time we're uncovering another incredible project that's reshaping the world as we know it.